Alright, I'm going to start off by saying every motorcycle manufacturer has their own issues. Some are worse than others, and when it tends to affect multiple units or many units, they will usually issue a recall. But for some reason, Yamaha did not decide to issue a recall with any of these problems I'm about to list off, and that, in my opinion, makes these problems that much worse. So let's get into it. So for the first issue I want to list off, it affects the 2006 and 2007 model year versions, and they had an issue with the frames cracking at the weld. And that is a pretty significant issue because if your frame cracks all the way through, it's essentially a totaled bike unless you can repair it. And you can repair it, so I'm going to pull over and show you where this tends to crack at real quick. So where these tend to crack is right on this weld in the frame, and I would post some pictures of it, but because I don't want to have any copyright strikes, you can just Google it. There's plenty of pictures out there showing where the frame actually cracks. You can find it in the forums. To be able to do this correctly, to repair this, you'd have to pull the engine out so you can actually get into these spots and weld it. So it is a pretty big job to actually undertake that. The weld actually just was a bad manufacturing process that they said, so that is what happens. They did not issue any recalls for this issue, which is kind of surprising to me, because Honda had the cracking issue in their frames with the Honda Goldwing, and to be honest, it was not as bad of an issue as it would be here, because this is a pretty main support beam for, you know, everything holding it together. So if it does break, as long as both sides don't break, it'll probably still hold together. Even if both sides breaks, it still might hold together, but it's obviously going to be extremely unsafe. So, but go ahead and Google that. Check that out for yourself. Read in the forums. It's always a good thing to look up major problems with motorcycles that you're potentially going to buy. That way you can kind of prepare yourself or even look out for those issues when you go to look at it. So let's get on to the second issue. The second issue I would like to bring up is a pretty major issue, and I believe it affects actually other bikes other than just the FZ1, and that has to do with the rotor issue that they have. The magnets will come apart because the glue that they used was not very strong and would weaken over time, and when the magnets flew off, your motor would eat them up, and most of the times it would destroy your motor. If you got lucky, it didn't. But that is a major issue, and every bike from 2006 up to 2014 and even some 2015 year models have this issue, and that is a lot of motorcycles. And if you want to fix this issue yourself, it's not a huge deal, but there are two options you really have: either the Yamaha OEM part or an RM stator. Now, with an RM stator, they are made in China, sold by a Canadian company, but they still are Chinese made. And I'm going to be honest, I had an issue with my RM stator. I know other people who also have had issues with their RM stators, but I've also heard of many people saying they've had no issues. To me, it's pretty much a toss-up on whether or not you're going to have an issue with yours, but just remember that the part, if it fails, will also destroy your motor. So it's one of those things where it's like, do I save $200 on a Chinese-made part that I've seen fail? I've seen them actually snap at the spindle, and that would be catastrophic for your motor. So either that, or do I spend the extra money, buy the correct part for the bike that's made correctly for the bike, and just eat the bullet and spend more money and fix it correctly? To me, the answer is the second one. Spend the more money, fix it correctly, because you don't want another issue. You just want to take care of the issue and be done and not have to think about it. And if you buy the aftermarket RM stator one, you still have a chance that there could be something that could potentially go wrong. Whereas with the dealer part, you're pretty much secure that it's been redesigned correctly and it is not going to fail. So those are your two options. But to end this video, let me know what you think. Do these prevent you from potentially buying a bike? I guess if the price is right, nothing's going to keep you from buying it. But If you agree with what I've said or disagree, please hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment, help support me in this channel. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Peace.